Alright, so it's good morning, guys. Alright, observations for this place. Very, not very ideal. First of all, the drive here was like 20 minutes. Not very ideal. It's actually as long as going to the premium place. Mainly because you have to walk upstairs, and to get to this car park, you have to do like a U-turn under a bridge. Second of all, sound barrier in here is extremely quiet. Very low. The premium place at this gym is not fully open yet, but I can see that it's slowly being built, and there's not really a golden hour because the sound barrier here is very quiet. No one here has sound barriers on, and we only brought the magnetic thing. So yeah, this place is not worth it coming again. It was worth coming for a quick visit to just see how things are, but definitely not next time. At least they have these things there. It's not bad. But the sound barrier is extremely quiet, and no one here has sound barriers on. No. RIP. I just finished this here, and update later. GG. It's over. It still works. It's just the top part's broken, so yeah, whatever. See right there? Yeah, that's where the new place is gonna be. Yo, this place is hella sketch. Yeah, we're not gonna probably not go back there again. Also, the car park here is super sketch. Like, this is probably like the highest rate of getting jumped gym wise. Look at this, look how dark the car park is. This is how you get jumped. GG. You ready? Yo, it's pitch black, no one's here. Matter of fact, there is no cars here. Except for mine. Yo, this is where you get jumped, by the way. It's in the city as well. Exactly where you get jumped. GG. Yeah, definitely if you're a female, don't come to this gym. The car park is so dark. There's no lights. You probably get stalked on in the stairs. Also, yeah, overall that gym is probably like, I think it might be the worst one I've been to. One, it takes too long to get here, right? It's like 20 minutes to get here. 20 minutes here, I had to go through like 10 plus traffic lights. The gym itself has no sound barriers, okay? There's absolutely zero sound barriers. Hold on. Yeah, the gym's got like no sound barriers. It's got sound barriers, the music, right? But it's probably the weakest one I've heard. Like, it's pretty much quiet. Actually, if I look at the car park, there's no more cars, but there were like 5 people there, so it seems like people using scooters and bikes. But overall though, it's probably the worst one I've been to so far. You know, it's, yeah, the worst one. Also, yeah, the magnetic tripod fell down the stairs and it broke the tripod. No, the phone holder part is broken, but that's like $5, so pretty cheap. But how many traffic lights I have to go through? So many. Oh my goodness, look at the amount of traffic lights ahead of me. Hold on, I can't really show you because I'll dox myself, but yeah, no, we're not gonna go back there for a minute. There's no natural sound barrier, and no one's got headphones or anything.
And besides that though, yeah, and then this getting here takes like twice the effort. I'm like stuck, I'm literally sitting behind the traffic light right now. That's how bad it is. And there's like 10 plus more to go. And yeah, nah, it ain't worth it. So I guess till next time, right? We're not gonna go back there for a minute. I mean, there is the premium one though, so maybe we'll need to have a look at if that premium one's good or not. But it's not open yet. But then again, it takes longer. It just takes a while to get there. And bringing Deep Blue's tripod legs is going to be annoying because I have to walk upstairs. And car park's dark. Yeah. We'll revisit it one day when the premium thing's ready to go. But besides that though, alright, as you may appreciate it. Alright. Maybe a story video? Oh wait, yeah, probably, because it's been like, I didn't even record anything. I was just, yeah, is what it is. Alright, well, see you in the story bit. Alright. Oh, and forgot to mention that there was like 3 police cars on the way here as well. And it takes, yeah, it just takes like 20 minutes to get here. It actually takes the same amount of time as going to maybe the premium gym. But yeah, nah, I don't know. It's not really loud, yeah. And the locals there seem like none of them have cars. They just biked or scooted here. And there's also this one guy when I entered the gym who is one of those ones that like spend 1 minute on everything and just very unpredictable as well. Yeah, alright, well, it is what it is. My bad. Alright guys, welcome back. Just a little story video because today that gym was absolutely doo-doo.
I'm not really the type to share stuff online, but what happened to me a few years ago still gives me chills, and I guess writing it out is my way of processing it. Back in 2018, I had just moved to a mid-sized city in Oregon for my first real job out of college. I didn't know anyone there, and since rent was ridiculous, I turned to Craigslist to find a roommate situation fast. I was working long hours in graphic design, barely scraping by, so a cheap room in a shared house sounded like a win. That's how I met Jessica. Jessica was the one who posted the ad. She was around my age, maybe a year older, with this bubbly, overly warm energy that immediately made me let my guard down. When I went to see the place, she greeted me barefoot in pajama pants and offered me a popsicle, saying she'd just come back from a walk and loved the heat. It was February. That should have been my first red flag.
What?
But the rent was dirt cheap, and she said she just wanted a chill girl to share the space with. I moved in 3 days later with 2 suitcases and a foldable mattress. The first couple of weeks were fine, even though Jessica was a little off. She was talkative but evasive. She never really answered where she worked, just said she freelanced. I figured maybe she did stuff online. But she had random people over late at night, guys and girls, none of whom she introduced. I'd wake up around 2 or 3 a.m. and hear soft voices from the kitchen, laughing or whispering, sometimes pacing. Once, I found a guy I'd never seen before just sitting on the floor in the hallway eating cereal out of the box.
What?
He didn't even look up at me, just chewed like he lived there. I started locking my door at night.
Yeah.
It wasn't even about feeling unsafe exactly, just this deep unease I couldn't shake. Jessica acted like everything was fine. She always smiled too wide, spoke a little too fast, and had this habit of avoiding eye contact at the weirdest moments. One night I asked her if everything was okay, just casually, and she looked at me like I'd caught her doing something. Then she laughed and said, "You're sweet. I'm just not good at normal life, you know." I didn't know what that meant.
What?
And I didn't ask again. Things got stranger one Saturday night around 11 p.m. I was watching something on my laptop when I heard the front door open and shut quietly. I didn't think much of it until I realized Jessica hadn't been home all day. Then, a few minutes later, my phone buzzed. It was a text from her. "Hey, can you come get me? I'm at the Speedway gas station on 12th. Please, I'm in trouble." Just like that. No punctuation except the period. My stomach twisted.
Who's in the house?
I didn't know what kind of trouble she meant, but something about the message felt off. Not scared. Not urgent. Just scripted. I stared at my phone for a minute before grabbing my keys.
Who entered the house?
But then I paused. Something was bugging me. Why would she call me instead of literally anyone else? Why not the police? Or even an Uber? And why didn't she call? Why text? I decided to sit tight and wait. I figured if she was really in danger, I'd hear something soon enough. That's when I realized my bedroom window had been cracked open a few inches. I never leave it open. I felt a jolt of panic, shut and locked it immediately, and turned off my lights. I sat in the dark, waiting, my phone in my
Who
hand.
entered the house?
10 minutes passed, then 15. No updates from Jessica, no new texts. I was about
Jessica
to message
dead.
her when I heard it. Soft creaking on the floorboards just outside my door.
What?
Someone was inside the apartment. I held my breath, frozen, and listened. The sound moved down the hall, paused in front of my
Why didn't you just call her?
and then slowly retreated back toward the front door. I didn't dare move. After a while, I heard the door open again, then close, much louder this time. My heart was pounding. I waited a few more minutes before unlocking my door and peeking out. Nothing seemed out of place, except my coat was missing from the hook by the door, and so were my sneakers. I checked the locks, double-locked everything, and stayed up until sunrise with a kitchen knife next to me,
What?
trying to convince myself I hadn't just avoided something much worse.
What happened to Jessica?
I kept replaying the timing, Jessica's message, the footsteps, the window. Something wasn't right, and I was starting to get seriously scared.
Where's Jessica?
The next morning, I got up early and drove past the Speedway gas station she had mentioned. It was just a few blocks from our place. I parked across the street and watched for a few minutes. Nothing. No Jessica. I texted her again, asking if she was okay. No reply. When I
She
got back
dead.
home around 8 a.m., she was in the kitchen like nothing had happened, wearing my coat and eating cereal like a sitcom character. She looked up and smiled like we hadn't skipped a beat. I asked her what happened last night, and she just blinked and said, "What do you mean?" I didn't even know how to respond. I was tired, freaked out, and something in her expression made my skin crawl, like she was waiting to see what I knew before she spoke. I went back to my room and started packing. I didn't have a plan, just knew I had to get out of there. That's when I found my laptop missing, and some cash I kept hidden in a mug in my closet. Gone. That's when it all clicked. She'd tried to lure me out of the house. Someone else had been inside while I waited in the dark, and she wasn't even trying to hide it. That smile at the kitchen table. It was smug. She knew I knew. I ended up crashing with a coworker for a few weeks until I found another place. I filed a police report, but honestly, I didn't expect much. Craigslist deals go bad all the time, and Jessica, if that was even her real name, disappeared a few days later. She left the apartment trashed, didn't pay the last month's rent, and vanished. The landlord said she'd used a fake reference on the lease. I never got my stuff back, but in the end, I was just relieved nothing worse had happened. The scariest part, I still don't know how many people were in that apartment with her that.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I don't know. That story is a bit confusing. I don't get it. Well, what do you mean by your laptop is all of a sudden gone?
At night. It took me a while to stop checking over my shoulder. For months, I couldn't sleep without something wedged against the door. I kept trying to rationalize it, tell myself maybe nothing sketchy, or year at a college in upstate New York. I'd just moved into a small off-campus apartment with a guy named Kyle. We'd been matched through one of those roommate finder apps. Nothing sketchy, just two students trying to save money. At first, Kyle seemed pretty normal. A little quiet, maybe, but polite and clean. We didn't hang out much, but we got along fine. He was studying graphic design and had a weird obsession with rearranging furniture. Like every 3 days, the desk or bed would be in a totally new position. I didn't think much of it at the time. I figured it was just his way of coping with stress.
Moving furniture every 3 days? I mean, it just depends on like, how much stuff is there? I don't know. Maybe he's trying to find the optimum something. It must be like small. Maybe just random.
Or boredom. Then out of nowhere, after just 2 weeks of living together, Kyle packed up and left. No warning. I came home from class one afternoon, and his side of the room was completely empty. No note, no text, no explanation.
Bro just gone.
The only thing he left behind was his key on the kitchen counter. I tried reaching out a couple times just to make sure he was okay, but he never responded. Eventually, I assumed he dropped out or transferred, and life moved on. I got a storyteller's hiding something. He must have done something to Kyle. We're hearing the opposite POV right here. New roommate a month later, but he was rarely around, and I mostly had the place to myself. It felt weird at first, but also kind of nice. It had been almost 5 months since Kyle left.
5 months?
Everything changed happened. It was early December, cold, quiet, with snow falling outside. I'd gone to bed around 1 a.m. after finishing a paper. I remember that night clearly because I'd fallen asleep with headphones in, playing a white noise app to drown out the wind. Sometime in the middle of the night, though, I woke up with this intense sense that something was off. Like someone was in the room. I took out my headphones, and the room was dead silent, except for the slow creaking of wood. At first, I thought it was just the building settling from the cold. But then I opened my eyes and froze. Standing in the middle of the room was Kyle. Same lanky frame, but thinner, paler.
What are you doing?
And wearing an oversized army green jacket that looked like it hadn't been washed in months. His hair was greasy, hanging over his eyes, and he had dark smudges under them, like he hadn't slept in days.
Bro's a druggie now.
But the worst part wasn't how he looked. It was what he was doing. He was moving the furniture, my bed, my desk, even the small rug I had near the closet.
What?
Carefully, slowly, like he was setting up a space for himself, like he still lived there. And he didn't say a word. Not when I sat up, not when I called his name. He just kept rearranging the room like I wasn't even there. I didn't know what to do. I just sat there frozen in bed watching him. My phone was on the nightstand, but it felt like any sudden move would break whatever thin thread was keeping him from snapping. Eventually, I managed to ask, "Kyle, what are you doing?" His hands paused midair, holding the edge of my desk. He slowly turned to look at me, and his eyes were so hollow it felt like I was staring at someone who had completely left himself behind. Then he said, almost cheerfully, "Just fixing it. You moved everything." His voice had this unsettling calmness, like he wasn't angry.
Yo, Kyle, you gotta get out of here, bro. You don't live here anymore. How'd you even get in? You gotta call the police or something. It's been 5 months since you left. How did he get in? Did he... Oh, he must have copied the key. Yeah. Even if he leaves the key behind, he could have made a copy. Yeah. Maybe he should have changed locks or something. Actually, yeah, that's so true. Wait, that's also kind of... Oh, that's kind of freaky if you think about it. Oh, that's kind of freak. Wait. Oh, new possible way of, like, stealing. Well, I mean, it depends. But, like, you know those hotels and motels that have keys? What's stopping you from, during your middle of the day, going to get the key copied? And then, when the motel returns, when you, like, you know, exit the motel, you leave the keys there, right? Or hand it, you walk to the staff and you give the key, right? The hotel/motel isn't going to change the keys. I mean, isn't going to change the locks. They just assume, oh, okay, he got the keys back. And then the next person that goes into the hotel room for the night, you go back in there with the copied key and kill. Yo, that's bad. Oh, that's bad right there. That is actually possible. And the thing is that, you know, in today's semi-modern hotels of keys, that's possible. Dude, you can actually do that. I mean, that's bad, but like, I mean, it depends on the ecosystem and stuff, but that is possible. That's why you want to get like a deadbolt lock. Matter of fact, yeah, where is the deadbolt lock? Because even if he had a copy of the key, he can't get in without getting the deadbolt unlocked. But then again, you got a roommate too, so it's hard to keep the deadbolt. Yeah, if you got a roommate. Yeah, but I mean, what about the other roommate? I don't know.
Just confused, like I was the one who had done something wrong. I told him this wasn't his room anymore, that he had left months ago, that I had a new roommate now and he couldn't just come in. But Kyle barely blinked. He kept muttering about how he needed the space back the way it was, and that someone messed it up while he was gone. Then he walked into the closet, opened it, and just stood there staring inside for what felt like a full minute. I was about to reach for my phone when he turned around and asked, completely serious, "Where are my sketchbooks?" I told him I didn't have them, that he must have taken them when he moved out. He didn't respond. He just walked to the corner of the room and sat on the floor, hugging his knees, like a child who'd just been told his toys were gone.
Hey, you gotta leave.
At that point, I got out of bed, slowly, and grabbed my phone. I stepped into the hallway, closed the door behind me, and called campus security. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely type in the number. While I waited, I kept listening through the door. I couldn't hear him moving anymore, just a low humming sound like he was singing to himself. It wasn't any song I recognized, just this off-key droning that sent chills down my spine. When the security guys finally showed up, they knocked, then entered with me right behind them. But Kyle wasn't sitting in the corner anymore. He was lying in my bed, covers pulled up neatly like he'd tucked himself in, eyes wide open, staring straight at the ceiling. He didn't speak when they asked him his name, didn't react at all when they gently pulled back the blanket, just kept humming that awful tune, softer now, like it was just for himself. When they finally got him up, he went with them quietly. No struggle, no yelling, just this blank look on his face like nothing around him felt real anymore. One of the guards later told me he'd found a folded piece of paper under the pillow. It was a rough pencil sketch of our old room layout, exactly how Kyle had been trying to recreate it. In the corner, written over and over again, was the phrase, "This is where I belong." After that night, I couldn't sleep in that room anymore. I ended up crashing on a friend's couch for the rest of the semester. The university helped me break my lease early, and my new roommate moved out too. He said the whole thing creeped him out too much. Can't really blame him. I kept thinking about the way Kyle looked at me like I was the one who didn't belong, like I was living in his room, in his reality, and he was just reclaiming it. The thing is, Kyle never contacted me after that. Not a text, not a call, nothing. It was like he just evaporated into the system after campus security took him. A few months later, I ran into one of the RAs who had known Kyle from his freshman year. I asked if anyone knew where he'd ended up. She told me, in a low voice, that he'd been placed in some kind of long-term psychiatric care facility upstate. Apparently, he'd dropped out quietly the first time because he was dealing with something serious, paranoia, disassociation, maybe even early schizophrenia. I don't know for sure. What haunts me, though, is that nobody thought to check in on him after he left. He just fell off the radar until he walked back into my life like nothing had changed. Sometimes, late at night, I still wake up to the sound of wood creaking. I know it's just my brain playing tricks, but for a split second...
I mean, to be fair for the guy, he did contact him when he left. When Kyle left, he was like, "Yo, Kyle, where'd you go?" And he never replied. It's like, oh, that is what it is. Interesting. That one's kind of a... Yeah, is what it is. You would say anomaly. Anomaly behavior. I'm dying. I'm joking. All right. Well, Legion, I appreciate it. That was pretty boring, but interesting story, I guess.
I always expect to see Kyle standing there again. Books and notes I never finished. Entire worlds in their heads. Worlds that make perfect sense to them, but collide violently with ours. Kyle never hurt me, not physically. But he shattered my sense of safety in a way I didn't know was possible. And to this day, I sleep with my door locked. Always.
Yeah, that's just an anomaly right there. No joke. That's straight up just an anomaly kind of thing right there. It is what it is. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate it. That was pretty boring, but I mean, hey, quickly before we go, why don't I have a little quick browse on what is around? Isn't that... Oh, what is around on the YouTube? What is around on the YouTube? Why are you putting outfits on the street? What? The most twisted cases? Neighbors who were watching. Car crashes. Super Nanny. Oh, Super Nanny. Is that still a thing? Or is it like old recaps? Probably is an old recap. 5 coffee brands in New Zealand. Is there anything else? Eric the Electric. He's always eating a lot of food. Yogurt. He lit it out. Watch live. He chose woman police wouldn't. He chose woman police wouldn't search. What? That isn't even English properly. He chose. Okay, whatever. Horror stories. First love horror stories. Ooh, that might be kind of interesting. Not gonna lie. Maybe I don't know. First love. I mean, it just depends, dude. It's always like it is what it is, right? There's only so much you could like prepare. Like you could straight up be lovey-dovey with like a girl for like a year, and then one night she just like has a knife. It's like, what? It is what it is. It'd be like that sometimes. Same as when a meteorite just drops onto the house. Is what it is. Is anything else interesting? Not really. Nah, not really. Stealth camping on the side of the highway. That is literally how you die. Roommate thing. I mean, roommates, you can only do so much with roommates. Right? Roommates are just, it is what it is again. It's like living with your family and siblings. It is what it is. You know, a roommate, you know, except you just don't have that much authority. Like, for example, if you're like the elder sibling, you can obviously control your environment a bit better. Make the younger sibling, like, follow rules, right? That's how the parents make sure the kids don't just, like, invite strangers in. But when you have a roommate, you know, it's pretty hard to just not let the strangers walk in and out. Yo, what is Unk doing?
A piece of meat can be preserved for decades without the need for a refrigerator. This is not due to some magical preservative from a laboratory, but rather an astonishing Chinese tradition with a 500-year history. The process goes like this. Every winter, a plump, succulent pork leg is selected, using only salt and a few simple spices. After 2 weeks of salt curing, the meat is hung outdoors. The cold, dry winter winds slowly draw out any remaining moisture. Next, the smoking process begins. Instead of a blazing fire, cold smoke billowing from pine and fir branches is used. In some mountain villages, locals smoke the meat directly above their indoor hearths for months on end. This smoke works a kind of magic. It maintains the meat's quality and allows it to be kept for 3, 5, or even 30 years. Time does not spoil this meat. On the contrary, it makes it even better. The longer it ages, the richer and more profound its flavor becomes. A piece of meat can be
I feel like you need I don't even know if that's even possible. Like, how is a bug's not going to get to it? Like, how a bug's not going to go get it? I don't even know. Nothing's interesting around here. Decluttering my room. Oh my goodness. The next door neighbor, Rick and Morty. Terrifying footage? What's this? The hell's this ad?
At the start of the game, you need to collect enough resources to repair your long-abandoned spaceship.
What the hell?
It looks okay, but I am thinking we're gonna have to redo scene 7.
You'll see that? Looks like it's dried blood. Huh. But I feel like there's something following me.
Realize you're in real abandoned in these woods alone. On March 24th, 2022, Black Mass Paranormal, a YouTube channel focused on paranormal investigations, unsettling legends, and unexplained Tennessee and Western North Carolina, far from society.
I have traveled. Be better.
I've got TikTok brain, GG, I can't even bother watching that. Is there anything else? Wellington stripper vlog. Hold on now, that might be interesting ecosystem. A stripper, I've never seen it before.
Doesn't make the work any less valid, but yeah, we're gonna work Friday and Saturday night, and just wanted something with a bit of colour. 100% sure if this rugby game works now. It's 11 and I still haven't done anything yet. Okay, I've had a few dances, but it is grim. Finally finished. Okay, I am back at my hotel. It is 10 to 7 a.m. because, of course, I get booked just before close and my customer wants to extend and then wants to extend.
Sorry, what did you just say?
Close, and because, of course, I get booked just before close and my customer wants to extend.
Customer? Is this an escort or a stripper? What do you mean by customer? Who is this? What am I doing? Interesting ecosystem though. Interesting ecosystem. Is what is what am I? Yo, there's actually nothing interesting, I swear. It's the season to be jolly. Cha la 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 la. I'm done. Alright. Appreciate it. Till next time. Bye bye.